Joining me now from Toronto, Kevin O'Leary. So, Kevin, let's just start with the obvious question. Are you going to run?
You know, I continue to explore the opportunity, and as you know, I formed a committee, and I'm speaking directly to Canadians, millions of them, on social media, and asking them to give me what they think they want to do. And so far, I've been very encouraged. The issue, and I've been very transparent about this, we can't, as a Conservative Party, have a debate with 14 people in it, regardless of what the language is, whether it's French or English. You get 20-second sound bites. It doesn't make any sense. You tell me when the herd will be culled, because clearly 14 people are not going to make it to the end, and I'll tell you when I'm joining.
You say you're talking to Canadians, but we also know that you met with deep-pocketed donors in Florida last week and told them you're waiting until January 19th to announce. Is that the date? If yes, why that date?
No, I didn't say that. I heard that rumor, and they also heard that there were poll numbers. There's all kinds of rumors flying around, none of which are factual. You know, the way I look at it is, I'm meeting with anybody that wants to talk about Canada. As you know, down in Florida, this time of the year, there's a lot of Canadians there, so it's easy to get a quorum. And we talked a lot about what's going to happen to the country on its current path. As it turns out, people are deeply disappointed in where they find themselves less than 2 years into the Trudeau mandate. He said a lot of things, and he hasn't kept his promise, and the biggest one is financial. He said he'd balance the books in 2019, and now we're talking about $1.5 trillion in debt for a country with only 34,000 people. That's beyond insane.
Okay,
that's just crazy.
Back to these donors, are they willing to give you some cash to run?
I never asked them for any money.
What'd you ask
them to listen to some ideas.
Kevin O'Leary, people know your name, but when you look at how this race is run, you need to get delegates. Are you kind of conceding ahead of time that you may not be able to get the delegates because the ground game is it's difficult, and you haven't really started the ground game here in Canada? So are you going with the name recognition thing?
You know, I look at it this way. It's a very, very small group of people that make this first decision on the 27th of May. You've got basically about 88, I'm a numbers guy, so let me give it to you by the numbers. It's very simple math. 88,700 hardcore Conservative Party members,
that are tied to other leaders, other leadership hopefuls.
Absolutely.
So
but everybody's on the ballot. Everybody's on the ballot. You're absolutely right. But then you've got all the other ones that people are going to sign up. But when you look at the history of the actual data, you know, again, I have a lot of people that work for me, so I've asked them to do some work on this. I went back and looked at the statistics of what happens in leadership races. You get to about 100,000 people that are voting, maybe 107 to 10 if you're really lucky, and everybody signs up another 20, 30,000. But the yield on the ones you sign up are very low. You know that because only 37% of all Conservative Party members vote in any leadership race. That means if you assume that hardcore party members, the majority of them vote, the yield on the new signups is extremely low. The truth is this: if you don't get 41% of the hardcore 88,700, no chance you're going to be leader. First, second, or third ballot.
Let me see if I hear you right. You're looking to be delegate's second choice.
No, I didn't say that.
No.
When I start a process, let me be clear. When I go into something, I go to win. I don't fool around.
It's not going to go in the first ballot, though. That's what I'm talking about.
Who said it's not going in the first ballot? How do you know that?
I don't know that, but I'm looking at your ground game at this point, and you haven't gone out there to get any delegates.
I don't have a name recognition problem.
No, you don't.
Don't have a money problem. My problem is too many candidates in any of these debates in any language. You can't have a debate. You can't talk about Canada. You can't bring your policies forward. You can't show a different direction in 20-second sound bites. Please tell me when we're down to, let's say, 4 or 5.
Okay.
Then we'll talk turkey.
Okay, so we know you're studying French now, and you grew up around French in Montreal, but you're not doing the French debate. How important is Quebec to you and the Conservative Party?
First of all, I was born in Quebec. It's very important to me. Very important.
But you're not doing the French debate yet, right?
But it's not a debate in any language. It's a soundbite contest. It's a 20-second soundbite. My whole point is it doesn't matter what language it's in. There's 13 people there. they're going to get 14 seconds of anything relevant. It doesn't even make sense. I don't agree with the format. There's too many people.
So I just want to move on to something else. How will you protect Canada's interests in the face of U.S. protectionism under a Trump administration?
That is a great question, and I'll tell you something. We're going to need a very, very strong leader to deal with Mr. Trump.
Why?
He's coming at it a completely different way. This is not business as usual. Let's be realistic about our situation in Canada. Our largest trading partner, almost 80%, is the United States. We can't afford to go to war with him. We have to find a way to bring forward our advantages into the U.S. and make sure that we get our fair share of trade, because we could be really hurt if we don't do a good job if he elects to negotiate on automotive, on oil and gas, on softwood lumber. You need a very strong leader to do that.
So
I don't see that in Mr. Trudeau. He has never faced anyone like Trump in his life. It's going to be Bambi versus Godzilla, and Canadians are going to be the losers.
Okay, so you say a strong leader. What's your relationship with the president-elect? How recently have you spoken to him?
We have a relationship that's common through Mark Burnett, but that's the only way we're the same. I am an Irish-Lebanese immigrant. There's no walls in my world. People have tried to say that I'm somehow like Trump. That's not true at all. Yes, we both worked for Mark Burnett. We've both been successful in business television. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. That's where the similarity ends.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
I'm all about keeping the walls open in Canada. Very inclusive society. I like that.
When was the last time you spoke with him? With Mr. Trump? Have you spoken with him in the past?
We only met way back in the early days of The Apprentice when we were all selling the... I don't have a relationship with Trump. I certainly know who he is.
How would you deal with him?
Because you've got to really bring forward the benefits of a deal. Let's, for example, think about the pipeline that the XL pipeline. Trump's already said he wants a piece of the action, okay? Mm-hmm. We know that about him. That means he wants equity and ongoing royalty stream. We as Canadians need our $3.2 billion back that we invested in this and got screwed around on. Now, the way a deal like that would be structured, and this is all, you know, assuming a negotiation's coming forward, but that's a big enough deal that if I were leading Canada, I would go negotiate that as the head of the team. That's very, very important. That's what I do every day. That's what I am. I'm a business leader. I take really good people and ask them to do extraordinary things. And by the way, we do not have that team in Ottawa now. What we have are retreads from the Ontario McGuinty administration that put Ontario $308 billion in deficit. Those are the same people that are putting policy forward federally. That's why Canada is a disaster right now financially. It's the same people. The same retreads. They've never, ever run a business.
Let's just talk about how you would deal with another world leader. What about Vladimir Putin? How would you deal with Russian expansionism in the Ukraine, the threat of other Baltic states like Latvia? How would you deal with Vladimir Putin?
Think about Russia as a competitor to Canada. When you think about natural resources, we are very much in the same kind of economy. So we don't want to think of ourselves either way, ally or foe. What we want to have is a strong military presence with our NATO allies, and we currently spend $25 billion a year in procurements and capital expenditures. I went and looked at that budget a couple of weeks ago, and I was stunned at what we're doing. Because of the Affordabilities Act, we can't hire any good people to do procurement anymore. First thing I would change is bring back better talent in how we're working in getting the military their equipment. Believe me, give me a few months with that budget and I'll fix it. We'll get much better equipment, much better terms, much better maintenance, much better employment. And you need that to make the military strong. You have to have that.
What about the president himself? How would you deal with Putin?
You have to go and deal with all world leaders, asking how you can build a peaceful interchange with them in business. That's what matters. We're not at war with Russia. Canada can be a great ally for them in terms of selling, particularly technology to them, in carbon emissions and scrubbing. We have some of the most advanced technologies in how you burn fossil fuels, something they do in Russia and in India and in China. Are we doing that? No, we're taxing ourselves into oblivion as opposed to solving where the real problems are in economies where they have emissions. You know, if you want to deal with any world leader, Show them the benefits of having a relationship with Canadians. What we should be doing right now, and I speak to every country when I talk about this, get ourselves competitive on taxes, get ourselves competitive on policy, and then go sell the country. Think about Quebec, think about BC, think about Alberta, Ontario. We have to open up for business.
No.
We should bring plants from all around the world here. It's such an advantage. You're closest to the largest market on earth in the United States. Instead, our economy is grinding to a halt. It's 0.7% GDP growth. I blame Morneau for that and Trudeau. Their policies are a disaster.
Let me circle back. I've talked to you quite a few times about the leadership race. You seem like you're in. I don't hear any ifs or buts
I've been so transparent. I'm such an open book on this. I've said so many times to so many people.
You're in.
You know, no. I'm saying I will come in when the time is right because I don't need to solve for name recognition. I need to solve for too many candidates.
You need a ground game.
I'm having it with you right now. I reach 1 million Canadians a week. Every week, 1 million Canadians. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Social media. It's a whole new ball game. I talk directly to Canadians every day. I get 10,000 emails a day sometimes from them. They're very concerned.
Well, I definitely didn't.
You want to talk to your constituents.
I definitely didn't hear a no out of that. That's what I'm going to go with for now. Kevin O'Leary. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thanks for your time. Appreciate it.